Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, of course, again, to the Game Changer live here on Spreaker.com, as well as on Podbean, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Mr. NTG1990 on YouTube. And we're doing a bit of a late night one. Usually I haven't done these in quite a while, actually. I think I've only done this if it's like a wrestling-related review. But, of course, I am Nate the Effing Great, and I'm being joined here by the one, the only, the mistress of cosplay, the one and only VicTori Belle. Good evening, madam.
Good evening. I'm excited. Yeah, it's weird to have a nighttime podcast.
I've had to do this so many times with a lot of other people, and there's a little bit of a norm to me, but this is kind of one of those things where it's like we've always done ours in the morning time, so this is kind of one of those things where it's like this feels kind of not like weird, but it's like bizarre, kind of, to say the least.
The Game Changer after dark.
Yeah, Game Changer PM.
Right. Ooh, what are they going to talk about? Just positive stuff.
It's another positive-filled episode, and we're actually going to be doing a little something different, you guys, because a lot of things that we have definitely talked about have been reflecting on some of the things that have been going on throughout the world, but I think that there's some people that would like to know what's been going on with our lives in 2017. Of course, if you checked out VicTori Belle's Facebook fan page, you've seen a lot of the things that she's done throughout the year, and if you checked out my Facebook fan page, you kind of know what I've been up to, but kind of we're going to go throughout the year and just give out some of our highlights that we think are worth noting and just ending 2017 on a positive note. So, with that being said, VicTori Belle, fire away. What is one of the first things that you remember when it came to 2017?
Wow, yeah. It's weird for me because I kind of don't remember too much going through, but I do love Facebook. Facebook has really given me a timeline that I could go off of. So I appreciate you, Facebook. And I get to look back on these times and be like, wow, that was still 2017. That felt like 5 years ago. But yeah, so my first thing that really was a kind of a life-changing / me-changing experience was really my first working relationship with Joe Alexi, who is also known for PhotoCon, and he is my photographer. We met in 2016, late in the year, but we never worked on anything until January of 2017, and the first project, which probably people know by now, I've said it enough, but is the 7 Deadly Sins photo shoot that we did, which was a three-day long photo shoot, marathon that was crazy and intense, and he kind of literally just like gave his time to me to be like, I was like, hey, I have this crazy idea. I don't really know you, but would you like to take pictures in my house? He was like, oh, okay. I mean, I have some equipment I can bring over, and sure, we can see if this works. And it was the first time, like, some of my family members got in on seeing really what costuming and the photography aspect of these costumes that I did entailed. And it was just literally the first time I dedicated a whole weekend to just shoot photos of myself in costume. And it felt weird. Like, I felt like, why is there so many photos of me? Like, why am I doing this to myself? But it really started me on the new kick of 2017, which for me was I wanted to go somewhere in costuming, and I wanted to do stuff for costuming that was above and beyond, and it would have not started at all without the 7 Deadly Sins photo shoot with Joe, and that's a working relationship that I still have to this day, and he's still my photographer / manager, and that was the first time we worked together, so it's kind of special. I really liked the 7 Deadly Sins photo shoot.
Yeah, I definitely was one of the few people that definitely stated how those photos were really very well done, and I definitely give Joe as much credit as credit is due, and gotten the chance to meet Joe this year. Very humble guy, very modest, and just absolutely a joy to work with. So it was really cool that you definitely got that going, because it definitely is one of those things that kind of kickstarted a lot of other things that you've done throughout this year. But I'm not going to go into too much because I think that's more your department. So
spoilers, Nate.
No spoilers, but so when I think about 2017 and how it started, first thing that kind of really stands out to me was the creation of what was to be the Elite Ringside Network, the combination of Squared Circle Podcasting as well as Smart Money Podcasting. We just decided, you know what, we're going to get all of us together. We're going to just start doing a lot of these different things. We're going to do more wrestling-related podcasts, and it all started off with Royal Rumble this year, which there are a couple of points where we're just like, oh boy, we see where this is going, but being able just to have that group of friends where you can just hang out, talk wrestling, and just have fun with it. Don't have to feel like you're pressured or anything like that. But also, this was kind of the starting point of really knowing what I was going to be getting myself into and who I'd really be closer to, really. And that, of course, being one of my co-hosts, Max Beatty, who has definitely been one of the closest friends I've had since starting the Elite Ringside Network. So definitely one of those things that definitely was really great to do. And you were of course there. Well, you weren't there physically, but you were a part of that as well, because you were part of us when we did Squared Circle Podcasting. Then you were a part of us for when the Elite Ringside Network came about. And for us, it was just like, any other day, it was just like, well, we're just changing the name. That's really it. Other than that, we're just going to keep doing the same thing as we do, and we just have fun with it, really. So that was actually one of the...
I had no idea it started in 2017. I feel like you guys have been doing this forever, so it's like, that's crazy.
Well, podcasting, I've been doing this for about, I think I started really getting more involved in this in, I want to say, April of 2015, was it? So I remember it was before WrestleMania 31. I remember that's where I started getting involved in that, and then I got into another podcast, and then they had the merger, and now we're doing this again, where I'm kind of solo, but I also have people working with me, so.
Cool. Awesome. Good for you. That's awesome.
So what do you got next?
All right. My next, I guess, milestone, kind of, a lot of these seem work-related, but, so my next milestone that I want to mention was actually when I hit 1,000 likes in March on my Facebook page. It's similar to when I hit the 1,000 mark on Instagram too, which I know people I talk that have millions of views probably don't remember this, but since I've only I have 2,400, but when I started last January in 2016, I actually got to look at this on Facebook, which this was kind of interesting for me. I had 36 likes in 2016 at January, and so in basically a little over the year, I don't even know, I got more, a lot more, and it just, getting that 1,000 like mark made me feel like that what I was doing and kind of the 7 Deadly Sins and the new costuming and the new photographs that I was taking was real, and people actually appreciated my work and appreciated what I was doing and what I was spending a ton of time on, and it just meant a lot that my time and effort was showing a little bit in the community of people that I wanted to show that I could do this, and the costuming community and the Facebook community that I've been reaching out to constantly was finally really reaching back to me too, and I just felt really good that people liked what I was putting out, and I was doing something that, it wasn't conventional, but a lot of my friends, family, and a lot of people I had no idea who they were really responded positively to me, and I really appreciated that, and it was a highlight of my life was that people appreciated my work in March and got me that 1,000 likes. But it was great. I really, really appreciated it.
Yeah, that was a great milestone. I remember being one of the many people that was just like, she's getting to 1,000 likes. We got to get her to 1,000 likes. Just sharing on like every other page that we could, and then it's finally like, yes, 1,000 likes. We can all take a breath. Oh,
it was so great seeing all that support. Like, people went above and beyond for me, and it's just amazing that I have such good friends like that. So thank you, and thank anyone else who helped support me or who clicked the button of like. That's all it takes. I remember I used to joke about it, like all it takes for me to be happy is a little click of a button, but that's probably a lie. But what is your next one?
This one, I don't know if it really is considered a milestone, but I definitely thought this was another major highlight where 2017 was definitely one of those years where I think I was more about having fun and actually getting out there and actually doing other things. And one of those things was when I made the trip to Chicago and we did the live reaction deal for the Oscars, which...
I thought you would pick this. I was like, I hope you pick this.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, it was one of the few things that really stood out because, I've never really sat through an entire awards show since ever. I remember sitting a little bit through the Tony Awards, a little bit through some of the other awards, but never like fully through the first, like through an entire show. And I just remember thinking like, well, is this going to be fun or is this going to be boring? And well, I think a lot of people don't know, and I think we're going to have to tell the story, was that the hotel that I was staying at, the televisions were just not working with us. We tried in like one hotel room, it wouldn't show the Oscars. Then we tried another hotel room, nothing. And then finally we just said, you know what, let's just set it up in the lobby and then we'll just go from there. And again, so many people just, commenting and viewing, it just made it that much more worth it. And all the funny stuff that happened at the Oscars, I'm thinking to myself, why have I not watched this show sooner? I mean, geez Louise, this is actually very entertaining. Even the final controversy that ended the Oscars with the, where everybody thought Best Picture was going to go to, might as well call it the Steve Harvey mix-up. Some people thought, oh, La La Land won, and there's like, we kind of messed up. It's actually Moonlight that won. It's like, oh boy, that just, man, because
so awkward. Like, give me the Oscar back, thanks.
and of course Jimmy Kimmel, just being Jimmy Kimmel, just says like, I take full responsibility. I'm sorry. I'll never come back to the Oscars again. And I just remember thinking, no, dude, you got nothing to do with it, man. You didn't do anything wrong. Come back to the Oscars. And sure enough, he's coming back to host the Oscars again this upcoming year. So it's like, well, obviously it didn't, shake him too hard. So thank God for that.
Yeah, that was great.
And, oh geez, I just remember also us dressing up like it was for the Oscars. In her defense, it was my idea to have us all dressed up and looking very fancy-pantsy, just looking like we're very, sophisticated. And boy, howdy, that was quite the deal, because I think I remember it just getting warmer and warmer in that lobby area, and I'm thinking, this is not the best idea. And I also regret not wearing a Deadpool tie.
That would have been cool. But yeah, no, it was definitely a lot of fun, and I'm always down to dress up. Obviously.
And then, of course, I guess you could say the major highlight, other than all the Oscars and all the presentations, was indeed that one Oscar award that I made just for you, because it would. Yeah, oh yeah, that one right there, the one that's collecting dust. But
dust.
Fair enough. Yeah, it was just one of those things that I just thought, what, she's done so much, and honestly, I mean, we were doing this for about only a few months. I think we started it in like August, September, something like that. And I just, again, felt like she was doing an amazing job, and it was one of those things that I thought definitely deserves to be appreciated, because life of a cosplayer is not that easy, and there's a reason why we did a series about that. So go check that out, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, just Oscars, hands down, were great, but then sharing that award ceremony with you made it that much more special.
Yeah, thank you. It was really fun. It was funny too. I have to say another highlight of that night was watching you attempt to drink the bourbon I brought. That was great.
Every single time I took a shot of that bourbon, you just busted out laughing.
Like staring at the monitor, watching, pretending to drink while he really struggled. So that was great. Nate doesn't like Knob Creek. If anyone ever wants to give him a gift, don't give him Knob Creek.
Yeah, there's a reason why my friends gave me brandy for Christmas this year.
Nice and sweet goes down easy.
And also I have to mention this again, Photo Joe. If you listen to this, I'm not afraid of Batman because I am Batman.
Right, oh Joe.
All right. So you have the floor now.
All right. So I guess, like I said, I'm trying to go into some chronological order here. So my next big highlight, I think, was C2E2 in April. That was the first time I did wings. Like, I revealed my big wings, and it was my Death Pact Angel. It was the first time I did the huge motion wings. It was the first time I got to work with unrivaled prototyping. My friend Daryl from high school, he started a company, and him and I and his younger brother decided, like, let's make these huge wings. We've never done anything like this, and we're just going to see if it happens and if it works. And sure enough, me and Photo Joe were able to carry these giant wings, and if anyone's been to C2E2, you guys understand. We had to park in parking lot C, which is the farthest one away, and carry these 40-pound wings into the con, full of people, full of 80,000 people, I'm pretty sure, go to C2E2. It was a trek, and it was crazy, and we ended up pulling it off, and Joe shot a video of me there at C2E2, with me opening my wings for the first time, and we were able to post that, and that was literally that was my best video of the year. I know the year isn't over, but I know I'm not going to top that. Everybody came out. Everybody really supported that. I actually got, I believe it was 26,000 views on that one video of me just opening my wings, and then it reached almost 70,000 people, and it was because of everybody sharing it. Like, it's not because of anything I did. I obviously posted it after he videotaped it, but everybody was sharing it. Everybody was really excited about how big these things were, and they were ginormous. They were way bigger than I thought they were going to be, and they weren't supposed to be that big, but it's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. But it was just really cool, and it's a huge highlight for me that working with Daryl and Tyler from the high school days that I used to hang out with them, and now we're doing projects like making giant wings for me to walk around in. So it's awesome. If you guys want to check out Unrivaled Prototyping, you definitely can. They're amazing guys, and they do awesome work. And I hope to continue working with them in 2018 once we decide on what we want to do. But, C2E2 has always been a huge convention for people, and I'm really excited for 2018 what C2E2 will bring for me. So that was my highlight of that. So your turn.
My turn to talk about how painful those wings looked when you were wearing them, or to we're talking about highlights. Okay, because
not the pain. I didn't get my back readjusted, but no worries.
Oh man, she still goes to physical therapy. Yes, no, I'm kidding. So highlight for that. I think this happened around April or May. I remember going to Oshkosh for what was known as a WrestleCon, so convenient that we're talking about conventions and cons and stuff like that. Just basically this big assortment of local independent wrestlers, as well as a couple of well-known wrestlers on either the independent scene or just on the professional circuit. A lot of people remember some of the names. People like Vicky Guerrero, Carlito, Kevin Thorne, and one of my personal highlights of seeing him, because he's definitely going to be one of the major highlights throughout the year. Mr. Ken Anderson, or Mr. Kennedy, a lot of people know him as, because I just remember going up to him, and I'm just thinking to myself, you know what, I'm just going to get a picture with him. He's probably got a lot of other things that he wants to deal with, so just boom, done. There. We take the picture, and then I remember just taking like 3 steps away from him, and I remember him just reeling me back in with a conversation. He just said, like, hey, where are you from, man? And we just had like a little mini conversation, and it was just like, wow, this is definitely going a lot better than I thought it would. Because honestly, I'm one of those people that looks at wrestlers on TV and still think, man, I'm guessing these guys are real jerks when they're, not being this character. But I keep forgetting that's an act. It's not who they are probably in real life. And I've come to find out that Anderson is definitely one of the nicest guys that I will ever meet. And I got to see him wrestle that night, and he won the main title from that promotions show. So it was kind of like, wow, that's a really awesome highlight. So just doing that, meeting up with so many people, getting to hang out with some familiar faces, meeting new faces, it was just an absolute great deal. And one of I think maybe 2 or 3 conventions that I attended this year. There's one other convention that we will definitely get to in a bit, but that's going to be a little more down the road. So I think we passed the ball back in your court.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome that you got to meet like a hero or whatnot. Is he a hero to you, or?
I don't know if I would say he's a hero. He's just definitely one of those guys that was on my list of like, God, I want to meet him. I want to talk to him. I want to take a picture with him. Just stuff like that. So it's just like, yes, I get to experience this. Yes, I'm so happy. So it's kind of one of those moments where it's like anybody that would go to like a convention, they wanted to see Michael Roker. They're just going to be thinking like, well, I would love to just get a picture with him, but if I could talk to him, that would be awesome. If I could, just do, such and such with him, that'd be amazing. And then just to experience all of those different emotions and actually go through all those different actions, it's like, this is even better than I even expected. I cannot believe this is actually happening. So it's kind of like one of those starstruck moments when you when you meet him. It's like, wow, this is actually happening. This is one of the best days of my life right now. Until something else happens.
Hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully not the best day forever. But cool, that's awesome. So I guess my next one, and I think you might mention something that happened in June. I'm not for sure if you're gonna do it, but if you don't, then I'll come back to it. But my next one is getting to host kind of my first real panel sessions, which happened in July at Indie PopCon. So it was really exciting. Indie PopCon invited me to host 3 separate panels for them. And the big one that I was super stoked about was the Wonder Woman panel. And it's where I got to kind of share information on Wonder Woman and why she was so inspiring for me as a person and as a nerd and as somebody, as a female who aspires to be something like her. So it was really cool, and what was even more cool about it was that I got to share it with Sarah Ekstrand, or Sarah the Amazon Ekstrand, and that was the first time me and her really got to kind of work together and go to a con together, and doing the Wonder Woman panel with her was so special, and we worked really hard on it, and we were able to present it, and it wasn't the most smoothest day because of our systems not working. We made great PowerPoints and stuff, and it wasn't connecting to the panel system and the projector, but we were able to host a room of like 100 people and talk about a person or a figure, a pop icon, and entertain people without using any gimmicks. No pictures, no nothing. It was just me and Sarah really talking about our time and our experiences with the Wonder Woman character and why we emulated her the way we did. And it kind of got me thinking, too, of, like, I wore Wonder Woman. I wore Wonder Woman a lot this year, and obviously 2017 was a huge year for Wonder Woman herself. So I could see that within my con goings because Wonder Woman was always requested. And it was kind of cool to, like I said, to scroll through Facebook and kind of see some of my old versions of Wonder Woman. And what I'm going to do, I have to do it now. I am going to find my old version of Wonder Woman that I purchased via Amazon, and I'm going to do a before and after of costuming and where costumers can go in their life, starting with just buying costumes and getting really inspired to start creating their own things and to get with great seamstresses and crafters like my friend Holland Zander in Rockford. She brought my vision to life with Wonder Woman, and I'm so happy that I got into contact with her and that she's made beautiful. She is, her essence is in Wonder Woman, and I loved it. She was so excited and so happy to work with me, and it was our first costume working together, so it took us a long time, but in the end, just looking at the before and after, it's just beautiful, and I really thank Holland for working with me, and I hope to work with her again in 2018. Our 2017 release was Lady Thor, so a lot of people appreciated that too, and it's all Holland's crazy work. She puts in so much work to bring my visions to life, but she's a great costumer, so if anyone ever wants to check her out and maybe see if they want to partner with her to make some crazy, beautiful costumes, she's always up for at least talking, so check her out.
Very nice, very nice. So, yeah, we're definitely going to be doing like a couple cheap plugs every now and then. But you know something, we're showing our support for the people that definitely have been highlights throughout the year. So if we mention your name, you know that you've definitely been a highlight throughout the year. So
definitely. But yeah, what do you have? What's next on your highlight?
So this one kind of ties in with like two different ones, and I'm hoping that I can not prolong this too much. But one thing that I love about doing podcasting is doing a lot of interviews and being able to just talk to people and be able to get to know them better, get a better understanding. Last year I had the opportunity to interview Mick Foley's daughter, Noelle, and she was definitely a one-of-a-kind sweetheart, and it's one of my favorite interviews to do. And this year was another one of those years where I absolutely just loved a lot of the interviews I did. I mean, for wrestlers, you got Thunder Rosa, a.k.a. Cobra Moon from Lucha Underground. I got to interview quite a few people from local independent wrestling deals. T-Dub 3, TJ Bulls, the referee. Nathan Gus, the Rage, as a lot of people know him. One of my favorites is a guy by the name of Steve, but he's known in the independent scene as Sadist. He is just absolutely amazing, and I'm hoping that he is still the champion of his promotion right now, because I think that he's one of those guys who definitely deserves it. And again, he's going to be appearing on the list again very soon. But this all ties in with the crazy week that I had. I think it was from June going into July, because it tied in with OhanaCon, actually. Basically, that entire week was just absolute madness for me, because I was traveling all around basically the south area of Wisconsin. I went to go see Pirates of the Caribbean. I saw Alien Covenant. I was staying with family, had interviews, went to a wrestling show, and obviously Tori will definitely VictoriBelle will tell you right off the bat how much I regretted the idea of screwing my head off at a wrestling show and then going to a convention where I had more interviews to do, because at the OhanaCon, again, just a one-of-a-kind place. Holy cow, I was just amazed at what they had going on there. But I got to interview one of the YouTube guys, Real Breakin' Nate, who was absolutely a thrill to talk to. Got to meet up with Photo Joe, did an interview with him. Also got to interview the creators, the masterminds of FML, as well as the Dedersons, Chris and Wyatt, who I have just seen them continue to just do absolute amazing success. And shout out to them, because they've reached, I believe it's 32,000 subscribers, as well as 32 million views on YouTube. You guys, just amazing job. Just keep up the amazing work. You guys definitely have earned it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what other content you guys have. And who knows, maybe if I pass by the Rockford area, I can maybe be a part of that. But we'll see what cards are dealt with. But OhanaCon itself was just absolutely amazing. And can't leave these out. I'm going to be very quick about this because I'm sure you might have a little more. You had a little more hands-on experience with this. Meeting up with two idols when it comes to growing up from my childhood. That being Veronica Taylor, who voiced Ash Ketchum, and Eric Stewart, who voiced Seto Kaiba, James, Brock, just so many different people, honestly. I mean, he's probably got like a long list to be like, oh, I remember this. I'm not going to go through all the names like that because it would just be, I don't think I could do him proper justice. But all I just remember from meeting Eric Stewart was just like, oh man, I'm meeting Seto Kaiba, this is awesome. And then you, Sarah, and Joe actually, I think, told me that he was actually singing the other night. I'm like, no way. There's no way that you did that. And I just remember you guys showed me the video. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This guy not only was basically one of the best villains on TV, but he was also a singer. Are you kidding me? So I had to go right back to that line and get one of his CDs. And funny thing was, is when I actually went back to get his CD, I just remember like stopping halfway because Veronica Taylor and Eric Stewart, they were like right next to each other. I just remember stopping halfway, going back to Veronica Taylor, and actually shaking her hand. I said, thank you for making my childhood just so great. And she just smiled and said, you're welcome. I'm glad I could make it. And I purchased Eric Stewart's CD, and I still listen to their songs every now and then. The Eric Stewart Band, just absolutely amazing. I have gone on record to say that Eric Stewart is basically almost like this generation's Phil Collins. He sounds almost exactly like him. It's uncanny. It's just absolutely insane. But that was just absolutely amazing. And again, getting to meet up with, Photo Joe, Sarah, as we mentioned, from Project X Amazon, I believe was, who was one of my first interviews when we did this, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Got to meet up with a guy by the name of Evan, who has been a really good friend of mine, and of course, somehow we just keep meeting up in the same building almost every single time you come to the Madison area. It's like this place is somehow, I don't want to say cursed, but it's somehow just saying we need to meet here every single time you come to Madison.
Well, when I come to Madison, you better come.
Well, I will plan on it then. Jeez, don't pressure me.
But no, yeah, OhanaCon was amazing, and I was really happy to be there, and I don't know if they're doing it again next year or not. I haven't heard much, but I really appreciated them, having a small-time cosplayer like myself be a highlight of their con, and it was really cool to get to see everybody and get to, host more costume contests and stuff, and I think that was actually the first time I was featured in a con, so I'm glad you chose this, because I kind of I hoped you would, otherwise I would have been like, whatever, it's fine. But yeah, it was the first time I was like a featured guest coming to the con, and it was the first time I hosted the costume contest by myself, which relatively went over pretty well, and Veronica Taylor and Eric Stewart both made an appearance at that, which was kind of funny. But,
how amazing were those costumes for the costume contest? I mean, the one that stood out to me, and you might be able to help me like get the name right, was the guy who basically had this like heavy duty, almost robotic suit. Just absolutely, oh my gosh! I was amazed at how much time and effort he put in.
Yeah, Trevor did really good. He's a costumer out of the Rockford area, and yeah, he did amazing, and it was great. They were amazing for the small size of the con. People really came out and really wanted to show what they could do, and it was great. It was definitely an amazing convention. I hope they host something along those lines next year, and I would love to be involved.
Well, I would be really, really, really. I'm not going to try to verbally trash them, but I said they would be really unwise to not pick you as one of the first few people. I'm just saying. That's just me. I'm just a podcast host. What do I know? But, all right, ball is back in your court. Yeah,
so I guess I'm going to move on down the summer line to the August time period. And in August, it was obviously a relatively busy month for me. I I was in the works of 3 separate new cosplays, all going to be released at Wizard World Chicago, and I got to be
That's
a
right.
big part of What?
I said that's right. I remember you talking about that.
Yes, I was very tired, and you were very like, oh. And you're like, okay, no worries, and I'm like, I'm sorry. But, so Wizard World Chicago, it was my first time actually having my own separate booth at a huge convention, and I got to bring my whole, like, a crew of people to work with me. I had the Unrivaled Prototyping guys, Daryl and Tyler, and then I had Joe, Photo Joe, and I had Sarah supporting me, and, Rob Fury helped get me involved in this, and Wizard World was just crazy. It was crazy for me probably because of my situation. I put it on myself, and I know some people were kind of like, I don't know about Wizard World Chicago, but I had a blast. I had a great time. Obviously, Holland and myself got to release the Lady Thor. Then I brought Death Pact Angel to the con, which she was released at C2E2, but those were my giant wings got to come out to Wizard World too. Then on Saturday, I released my newest wing costume, which was Swamp Thing, with the different kind of style of the wings. I did more of an owl style, and Swamp Thing was the first time I decided to paint my whole body green. Regrets are there. And then on Saturday, I got to release my first real video game kind of costume as Zendel from Mortal Kombat, and Rob and myself got to host a huge panel for the Mortal Kombat actors. The actors of the video game were all there at Wizard World, and we got to interview all 6 of them. It was just really cool and really fun, and I really appreciate Rob kind of bringing me on board. Rob Fury is the president and CEO and everything of the Age of the Geeks, which is a big costuming group out of Chicago. And he's invited me to come to their events. He's invited me to be a part of them. I'm just kind of my own entity, and I just don't like to really merge with people like that. But he always invites me to come out to his events and to basically be the Age of Geeks with VicTori Belle. And he just always includes me, and it's really nice, and I appreciate him for everything he does. And I know me and him we're in the works of starting our own little kind of media organization called the Bells of Fury, and we're going to be going to conventions like we did this year, but doing more of the media for cons. So it's going to be really exciting. I don't know the exact con that we're going to start on, but I know Rob is really presenting this to a bunch of conventions. So you might see more interviews like the ones I did at C2E2 and OhanaCon with more of that well-known people. But we always want to interview everybody, and we want to host the costume contest, which is a big thing we do together. So it's a lot easier when you have Rob, because he makes everything a lot more fun, and he does a lot of good conversation. When you talk by yourself, sometimes it's kind of awkward, but I'm really excited to work more with Rob Fury. So I don't know if you've met Rob yet, Nate, but he's somebody you should talk to.
I have not had the pleasure of meeting with Rob. I know that you've definitely mentioned him quite a few times, but I think one of these days we're going to have to make that a reality. And whether it's over Skype and we do an interview, or whether we actually meet at a convention, definitely I think that I need to meet the man, the myth, the legend known as Rob Fury.
You have to, especially because you guys are both wrestling fanatics, and
oh boy.
Himself, he was a professional wrestler in a time period in New York, so I think you guys would have a lot to talk about. So that's something I need to hook up, and I don't know why I haven't yet, but I'm glad we're talking about this now. So I can remember the thing, and I'm noting it. So it is noted.
Duly noted. And for those of you that are curious, we are going to actually be linking up a lot of these people's pages when we share this on Facebook, because we definitely do want to give them their due credit. So a lot of the people that we've mentioned, the PhotoCon, Project X Amazon, Rob Fury, the Age of Geeks, They will be all mentioned on Facebook either tonight or tomorrow, because it all depends on how we're basically feeling, basically, because it's like it's almost 10 o'clock right now, so we're almost to the point of like just crashing right now, and I have to get sleep for work. Anyway, now I get So I know, curse you, sleep. Sleep wins me over a bit more than it does you, because I do remember so many of those nights where you're saying like, oh, I haven't been getting much sleep, and I'm like, Victory Bell, sleep. You need it. And it's like, I'm fine. It's like, and then you're just like, I should have listened to you. It's like, why do you do this to yourself? Why? All right. So for August, this was actually, it was a pretty eventful month, because two things basically happened. Well, in the course of July going into August, one of them was that I parted ways with the Elite Ringside Network. And, of course, I've been very quiet about this, and I think I'm actually going to keep it that way. It's one of those things where it was basically a misunderstanding between two parties, and basically I just decided, well, why don't I just, start my own thing? Because then I can actually be, kind of like a boss of my own deal. I can do post whatever content I want, and hopefully not offend too many people. I know that there's probably some people that are just like, oh, you offended us because you dounced Justice League and they reached $600 million in the box office. I know. I'm sorry, okay? I learned from my mistake. But in all fairness, Star Wars is getting up there. Just saying. But yeah, just the creation of the Game Changer was something that I was really excited for, because, like I said, I get to be my own boss. I get to do my own hours. I get to create my own content. Basically doing what I did before. But when I first stopped doing it solo, I think it was mainly because I was doing it by myself and I was just burning myself out immensely. But now I feel like I have more time to actually do this, as well as more people that actually are willing to work with me. So it's like now I can actually do this and not feel like I'm going to burn myself out so easily. I can basically time things better. And obviously, a lot of people are going to hear that, this is not like professional quality sound, or probably not, professional looking. I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is more of what the subject matter is. And a lot of people have noticed a lot of the unique stuff that I've brought up. Like, of course, we've done, positive news stories throughout the year. I figured that's one of those things that people really should know, because a lot of people are negative throughout the year. I mean, ever since Trump came into office, it's been negative. Let's talk more about the positive. Let's actually do this. And also, I think that ever since I've had my co-host Victory Bell, I've gained a lot more appreciation of the art of cosplay, whether that being dressing up, professionally, as she and, Project X Cosplay have done, or just somebody just, putting on a cape and just being a Superman. Just appreciating that and just being able to look at it and say, these people really do love these characters, and they really do want to be, respected for that. So that's what I do. I try to respect them as much as I can. The other thing that happened in August was meeting Mr. Anderson again, and this was his first and only title defense that he had against Steve, aka Sadist. And I just remember that night was just absolutely amazing. Because I just remember I was dressed up as Chris Jericho. I had the Chris Jericho t-shirt. I had the scarf. I had the list of Jericho. And so many of the wrestlers actually just started, working with me. I think they noticed me right off the bat, and they're just like, you know what? We got to give this guy a hard time. Or, we got to work with this guy. Two things I definitely do remember from that night. One was a couple of guys, Logan Lynch and Brock Hall. I remember they were coming out. They were doing a tag team match deal. And I just remember these guys, let's see, what were the name? The Ringside Mafia, there we go. A lot of times what they'll do is when they don't like somebody, they'll just actually turn their backs to them and just completely ignore them. So Logan was doing the same thing to me. And then I just remember the corner of my eye, I just looked down, I just see Brock's finger just doing a little motion where he's just like, give me the pen. I just slide the pen over to him. He grabs my list and he just writes down the Ringside Mafia's name on there. He's like, you guys just made the list. And of course, being a heel, he just drops the list right in front of me, doesn't even give it to me properly. I'm like, Great. Love these guys. Love them so much. The other thing was that, geez Louise, Mr. Anderson had a field day with me when it came down to it, because one of the first things he said to me was, what is that you got on? You got like an ascot? I said, no, it's a scarf. Just as cool, I guess. Just healing it up and just hamming it up like he would. I even remember about just taking a picture with him, and he just gave me this look of like, what the hell are you wearing? And and to cap it all off, after Sadist defeated Mr. Anderson, he's doing like his big grand deal, and he's going to go like, Mr. Anderson. But I just remember him looking towards me, and he just says, I don't care if you have the raw ratings, Jericho. I don't care what you have to say. And then Sadist just grabs the mic and said, that's not Chris Jericho. That's Nate. And for me, the nostalgia factor was just like, oh my gosh, I got my name mentioned on a wrestling show. This is awesome. And then Anderson just kind of took that moment away by just saying like, Nate, that's like the worst male name that you could possibly have. I mean, other than Keith. And it's like, okay, you just redeemed yourself right there. Thank you very much for the Family Guy reference. But, yeah, just, again, going to another great event. And then I just remember talking to him, Mr. Anderson, after the show. And it was just one of those things where it's like, dude, I thought that you were just on fire tonight. It's like, well, you kind of made it easy for me when you dress up like that. I'm like, fair enough. So, again, just always great stuff just to go in there and go meet these wrestlers again, just having all this fun. And the Jericho costume has somehow become like the costume that a lot of people really enjoy me seeing, other than there's another one, but I'll have to mention that a little bit later on, because this goes into, I think, the October time, so we'll save that just a little bit later. But yeah, it's again another one of those moments where it's like, well, I appreciate what you guys do, because it's not easy, especially when you got people that are like, oh, can we take a picture with you, or can we just do that? I even had kids just saying like, put him on the list. I'm like, okay. It's just absolutely amazing. So, what do you got next?
So, now, again, these are some of the highlights of our life, and I know we were talking about being really positive and everything, but sometimes a highlight of your life can be something that's not always, kind of like how you just mentioned, like how you split ways with some of the people that you used to really enjoy. It is a highlight, even though it's not necessarily always great. It's just a big thing that happened. And so in September, I was really coming off of the con high of Wizard World, and just kind of like feeling really like, oh my gosh, now what's next? Oh, I got to plan like something even bigger and better and bigger and better. And I was conversing with a bunch of people on what I need to plan and how much money I'm going to spend on this and this. And then in September, the mid-September, around my sister's birthday area, I went to go visit her, and she literally sat me down and ripped me apart. And it was interesting, because I felt good about what I was doing, and I was super positive about what I was doing and costuming, and she's one, just to put this out there, she's my life coach and my manager, so she's allowed to say this to me, other people aren't. And so she basically told me what was my dreams, what were my aspirations when I took the journey of quitting the news, and what was my goal. And I kind of told her, and I was like, my goal is to be an actress and to be inspired. I want to be somebody who people can look up to and be like, wow, I would love to, I want to inspire people. I would love to be like her, like what she's doing and the road she took to get there. And I want to be a self-supporting actress. And right now I'm not. And my sister kind of like, she planned it out for me, and she's like, you're not doing anything that you want to do, so why are you going to spend more money, and why are you costuming if that's not the goal? And I got upset. I got mad. And like, I went home. I remember driving back from St. Louis, to Chicago and just being mad at her. Like, oh, how dare she, like, do this after I worked so hard and blah, blah, blah. Like, she always makes me feel bad, blah, blah, blah. And then I, like, sat in it. And this goes to October, and I kind of, like, sat in my own, like, reflection. Like, I just sat in myself and in my mind reflection, and Archon happened, and me and my sister and my other cosplay my cosplay family, Rosa, who always has supported me and throughout this whole journey, and she always shares my stuff, and she's amazing. And she's literally part of my family now, I feel. She's like my second sister. We got to go and do my last kind of costume creation of the year, I felt. And after that, and after reflecting and talking to my sister multiple times, I realized that I need to get back on track with what I wanted to do. But I guess that's another time. But yeah, so the big highlight of the September time was really my sister reaming me and tearing me apart, to the fact that I got to see that I was misguiding myself. So it was really, really interesting, and I really thank her for being so real with me all the time. She's always real, whether you want her to be real or not. She'll tell it how it is, and Rosa and myself both know that sometimes it hurts and it doesn't feel great, but it's always out of her love for us and her love for wanting you to do what you want to do and trying to help you achieve your own goals. And so, as much as it made me feel bad right now, which I gotta hold back because this kind of goes into my next highlight, but right now I'm thanking her for it, obviously. But you go next before I accidentally leak out my next one.
Well, before I get into the next one, can I just at least, get a first name basis? What's your sister's name again?
My sister's name is Allie.
Allie, if you are listening to this podcast, you get a thumbs up from me for, helping her out, because she definitely talks about you immensely, and this is just one of those many times where, that proves the point. So definitely keep up the good work, and definitely keep her on the right track, because, I can only do it so many times. Let's just face it. I'm kidding. She's always a joy you're just a joy to work with. It's just every now and then it's like, I can only do so much. I can talk to you via Skype, but yeah. So sometimes people need to have the actual presence there in order for it to take full effect. But all right, so for September, this is going to probably come as no surprise to anybody, but for the third time this year, got to see Mr. Anderson for a third time at another wrestling show in Green Bay. I know. For me, this was one of those things where it's like, this is a major highlight for me. Not only did I get to see him once, not only did I get to see him twice, I got to see him 3 times. And all 3 times, there was always something that was just memorable about it. And this time around, it was awesome because I remember going to that show by myself, and I still had, I think I still had like 4 tickets that I needed. I thought I was going to have like so many people going to be coming with me. It's going to be a fun time, but everybody else was busy, and it's like, well, this kind of sucks. So I just met with a couple of friends there, and I'm just like, do you guys want to just sit up at the ringside? And they were just like, oh, you're definitely, are you kidding me? That'd be awesome. So I got those seats taken care of. But I remember from talking with Mr. Anderson again, just great conversation. I even got like 2 autographs from him. One was for me personally, and it's of course on my wall of greatness, as I like to call it. And I will state this, that a certain somebody is actually a little bit higher than Mr. Anderson. Gee, I wonder who that is. VicTori Belle. I mean, no disrespect, but it's just one of those things where...
More than 3 times, so I deserve to be up higher.
Fair enough. You make a fair point. So, I just remember doing that, and I just remember him writing down on the autograph deal. He's like, Nate the effing great. Says who? It's just one of those few times where I literally felt like, wow, my greatness is put into question, and never has it actually felt more, hit home than when a guy from WWE has actually done it. The other one was for my friend Max, who unfortunately could not make that because he was not feeling so well. And I just remember him. I just remember saying, like, can we do another autograph and do like a picture deal? And this was really cool because I actually got to meet Mr. Anderson's wife, or as he likes to call her, the boss. And for good reason, really. I mean, she was just an absolute joy to talk to and just an absolute doll, in all honesty. I just remember for my picture, it was one of his least likely times, or less times that he really wants to remember his wrestling career. But I just remember her just saying, like, oh, I like that one. I think that was my favorite part of his career. And I'm like, it's mine too. And I just remember him giving me this look of like, I hate you. And I was like, you're welcome. So that was a personal highlight for me, just again, talking to him, getting those autographs, getting pictures. But there's one other thing that also kind of was a highlight. And this is going to be so absolutely... Oh, man. There's going to be so many people that are going to be in shock that this actually happened to me, of all people. But one of the wrestlers... I was trying so hard, I think, just to kind of like... I don't know how to say, like, catcall, but I think I was kind of like taunting a lot of the wrestlers or just interacting with them. And so many stories I could talk about. But this one in particular was just absolutely just downright a moment where I even had like my jaw down. Like, wow, this just escalated real quickly. But I just remember just trash talking this one guy, and then next thing you know, I just remember him coming over to me. He just starts throwing insults at me, and I'll never forget that he said that. And for those that are very curious who it was, there's some people that already know. Joey the Jet Avalon, he literally just screamed out at me. He just says, "You know what? There's going to be nobody that comes to your funeral, and nobody's going to miss you." And I'm just like, wow. It was literally one of those moments where I'm like, wow, that just took me completely off guard. But it was one of those things where it's
so mean, but I know it's supposed to be funny, but that's mean.
There were so many people that were just laughing, and I was kind of lost for words. I'm like, okay, that was the one thing I was not expecting to happen. But everybody else I've told the story to, they felt sorry for me, but they were just like, dude, that's pretty awesome that you got somebody to actually say that. I'm like, I don't know how I, make that impression on people, but apparently nobody's going to come to my funeral when I die, apparently. It's just, oh, well, thank you. Everybody else is going to be coming in spirit, apparently. But yeah, just, it's just, it's what he would have wanted, just. Right. All right. So, do you have any other highlights throughout the year?
I actually have two more.
All right. Awesome.
I kind of already said one though, because I basically kind of talked about. So this one will be relatively quick. Then I have one more after that.
All right.
Okay. So my next highlight is the whole month of October, because it literally took me a whole month of reflection. I kind of told everyone about this in the last highlight of once my sister talked to me, and by talk I mean sternly talked to me. I got kind of down on myself because I realized that what I was doing in my life and in my career path wasn't what I aspired to do. So I literally needed a whole frickin' month to reflect on my goals and what I wanted to do. And I literally went back to the drawing board and I started to, send out applications again, like job applications, looking for things that could help me get to where I wanted to be. And basically that, I can sum this up into one. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
I'll sum it up into one instead of making two. Basically, I realized I want to be an actress and I want to do acting, and I need to stop fiddling with my thumbs and literally apply to places. And so I looked up on Lily's talent agency, and they had an internship. And for a 25-year-old to be seeking out an internship, I thought I was crazy. But I did it, and I was like, whatever, I'll apply to it. And they called me back, and I got 2 interviews, and well and behold, by November, I got a gig at a talent agency, and they talk very positively about me, and they're such good people, and I really love Lily's, and I love Lily herself, and everybody who works there makes me feel like I'm part of a family, even though I'm just like an intern. But because I got involved in their system, they're actually looking to represent me in the future, and it's a way in Chicago that you can start getting those roles that are bigger and that can lead you to the LA roles and the roles in the big comic book movies and stuff. And I'm just really thankful to my sister and to Rosa and to anyone who kind of saw my struggle at the time. I know I talked to you multiple times about this, and I talked to Joe. I had a big party of people kind of bouncing off the ideas to me, and I just remember in October my sister trying to yell at me again about didn't I tell you you're not doing anything, and what are you doing now? I haven't seen you post anything. You're not even doing costuming anymore. What are you doing? And I was like you can't tell, but I've been applying everywhere. And by November, when she saw I got 2 new gigs, 2 new jobs, and then the internship, she was like, holy crap, you actually listened to me. I was like, I always listen to you eventually. But yeah, it was really cool to kind of show her, look at what I did, and look at what they're saying about me and about my work, and it was cool to bring Joe in on it and be like, hey Joe, can we do photos that aren't of costumes? And he's like, I've been waiting for you to ask me this. And I was like, yay! And it really leads up to my sister definitely wanted me to mention it, just about how people really do sometimes need to just take a break and to really reflect within yourself. And that reflection time, don't take forever, but taking a month to just think about who you are and where you want to be, and putting all these things in a line. She literally told me, and I don't know if she's being honest, but I bet she is, because I just don't always like to give her credit, but she started life coaching me when I started this in 2016, and she literally said she led me up to this, and she led me up. She's like, everything I had you do has been stepping stones. Your costuming has been amazing, and she's like, I'm really proud of you about that, but you wouldn't be where you are. You wouldn't be ready for this internship and be ready for meeting all these different big-wigged people in the entertainment business if you didn't go through these conventions and meet people there and talk to people and go on TV shows like Deadgers and the Deadersons and stuff like that. You wouldn't be ready, and you wouldn't be where you are now. And she's like, do you feel ready? And I'm like, I didn't know, but I do. And the reflection and being able to talk to myself, and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time, but it's so worth it. And if anyone ever wants to talk about that, my sister is the best person. So Nate, if you ever want to talk, she can teach people how to reflect, and it's amazing. And it's a big skill of hers that she doesn't get paid for, but she life coaches just out of the goodness of her heart, and she loves me. So I really, oh God, I'm getting emotional. I really respect that, and it leads up to where I am today. And one thing that I've consistently done throughout this year, and sometimes, yes, I've been a little absent being crazy into costuming, but is this podcast is something that I've been consistently doing, and I consistently love to do. And I get to talk about these things and reflect, and we get to reflect together, and it really helps having people to talk to. And even if some podcasts no one maybe listens, I don't care. We listen to one another, and it really is a big deal, and I think it's really fun, and I enjoy and consistently enjoy doing this podcast and being part of the Game Changer, the new Game Changer, and just being able to, meet new people and talk about our new experiences together and talk about just anything. It's always fun, and I can't wait for 2018, doing more more eventful stuff and talking hopefully about new random things that I'm doing and new random things you're doing. So I really appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody mentioned in this this podcast. And yeah, I'm gonna now turn it over to you before I get too emotional. So you take it.
Well, first of all, you're gonna make me cry now. And
by the way, and I didn't say this in October, but the video you made for me was amazing. And I don't know if it's too personal to say that, but can I say what you did, or is that too personal?
You know, by all means. I mean, it was meant for you, but if you want to really express it, and you know, it's one of those things that you want to get out there, then by all means, go ahead.
Yeah. Literally, the night of my birthday, you sent me a video of you singing the Beauty and the Beast song Evermore, which was my favorite song in the movie. And not to get into too nitty-gritty details, my birthday was not the best for me. I was actually really down and depressed at the time that I watched your video, and watching your video really took me out of a dark place. And I was like, wow, this is great. And, you know, self-reflection time of October, my birthday's in the middle, so it's like that was the hard part was my birthday. And hearing the song I loved and having your kind words, being like, I took the time to do this because you're great and I hope you keep doing you. I'm like, wow, you're amazing. And I really appreciated it. And I don't know, I kind of reiterated that, but I probably didn't reiterate it as much as you would like, probably because I was going through some stuff, but it was great. So yeah, everything's great, and I'm so happy that I'm still doing this podcast and that I got to reflect, and that maybe next year we'll see different things.
Yeah, I was going to say right off the bat, you mentioned the idea of me talking to your sister anytime I want. I feel like the first thing that you would say from her manager side is that I think you need to pay my sister a little bit more than what she's making right now. And if she does, I'm gonna be the first. I'm gonna be the one that texts you. Just say like, I told you. I said on this podcast that she wanted me to pay you more. This is exactly what I was worried about. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure.
No, she probably wouldn't.
From what you told me, she wouldn't be that mean. She would just be brutally honest with probably some of my methods. But anyway, so rounding off the year for me, I mean, everything that has happened with, you know, movies and with wrestling events, definitely in October and going into November, it was just one of the best things that I could honestly ever imagine. I mean, Monday night, Raw was in Green Bay. I went down there, and it was for the first time ever that I was actually at ringside. And so many times I'm thinking, man, am I going to be seen on TV? I'm in a spot where I'm probably going to be seen on TV. Holy cow. And I need to, I'm going to try to get this done before the end of the year. I want to actually make like a compilation of just spots or places in videos where you can actually visibly see me on TV. And it's one of those things where I know it seems kind of selfish, but it's one of those things where it's like, I'm proud of this. I'm finally on like a national TV deal. And there's so many people that would be like, oh, we're going to watch out for you. We're going to look out for you. And one of my former co-hosts, Spencer, he was actually there too. And he actually had a nice little sign because one of the independent wrestlers was actually at the pay-per-view that happened the night before. So he made this sign that said, TW3 saves Kurt Angle. And I'm like, well, it's true because he basically was playing one of those security guards that just carried him off to the backside. So it was just one of those things where it was like, well, he is telling the truth. And plus, you know, it's a Wisconsin guy, so power to us. But I remember on that night, they were building up to their next big deal, which was one show, Raw, taking on another show, SmackDown. Well, SmackDown made an appearance, and they actually came out, and a lot of the superstars came out from the crowd, and it was from the area that I was sitting where I saw so many of these people, and some of them were like tall, some of them were kind of shorter than I was expecting, which I've really come to notice that. It's like, wow, some people are actually a lot smaller than I realized they would be, and it's kind of sad that you put them on like such a high pedestal, thinking, man, these guys are going to be like, you know, muscular, they're going to be taller, they're basically going to be people that are going to kick my butt, and then there's some that you have to actually look down, and it's like, oh, well, They could still kick my butt. I mean, I just wasn't expecting that. But it was just really awesome just seeing all these stars. I even posted a video even on, I think it was on my Instagram, it was, where I showed how close they were to me. And there were like so many other guys that like right across from me that were freaking out because they were just touching people on their shoulders or on their backs. And it was just like, oh, I'm never washing these hands again. It's just like, man, it was just absolutely amazing just to be a part of that. And then the following night, I went to that SmackDown, and I dressed up like glorious Bobby Roode, which was another one of those deals where everybody just recognized who I was or who I was trying to be. But one highlight that definitely stood out from that event was there was actually a mother and her kid that was actually at the event, and they were kind of looking at me. They were seeing the championship belt that I was holding, and I just remember them saying, can we get a picture with you? And I just remember thinking, wow, this is awesome. Just to be able to, put smiles on people's faces. I mean, I let the kid hold on to the championship belt, and I just remember saying, like, well, this one's just a replica. The real ones are even heavier. And it's just look on the kid's face of like, really? Yep, we're good.
Okay.
We had some technical difficulties.
The connection said it was poor. I was like, no.
God, I love technology.
Sorry.
But yeah, I was just basically talking about how, it's just amazing how, you get these kind of reactions, and especially from true wrestling fans who just appreciate, even the small things. I have a friend by the name of Nick. He goes all out, and he dresses up like a lot of different characters, and he dresses up as Goldust a lot of times. And he's actually met the guy who actually plays Goldust. He's probably good friends with him for all I know. But yeah, just seeing people doing that kind of stuff. And then there's people that actually come out and they appreciate, they're either saying, oh, it's Goldust, or hey, it's Jericho, it's glorious Bobby Roode. And, just hearing all that stuff is just really absolutely awesome. It really just makes you appreciate, again, people who are cosplayers and people who definitely do dress up as like that. And of course, for me, kind of cap it off and kind of a highlight for me, this is kind of a geek moment for me, but I'm proud of it no matter what. October, getting the chance to win the Game Changer Championship that I created for my deal. And then Elite Ringside Network, they contacted me and they said, well, we want you to do predictions and maybe get you in contention for this. And it's like, well, okay. And I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to win this. Won the number one contender deal. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going straight to Survivor Series. I'm going to be competing for the championship. And to my surprise, I got a complete sweep of the entire event. I got every single prediction right. So it was kind of one of those moments where it's like, oh my God, I'm actually living up to the hype where everybody will say like, oh, I'm going to walk out with 2 championships. I'm going to look like this. And I'm thinking, I'm just tooting my own horn. There's no way this is going to happen. And then after the moment where I knew that I won, I'm like, holy cow, it actually happened. It was like watching a Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom trailer for the first time and seeing Jeff Goldblum. And it's just like, oh my God, we're getting this. Or watching Thor Ragnarok. It's just like, oh my God, this is awesome. Or just seeing the, Avengers Infinity War trailer, which is going to be awesome. Please, by all means, everybody support that. Because it's probably going to be one of the biggest box office records that's going to just absolutely be hard to top. It's just going to be crazy. So, I've got everything taken care of. Do you have any more, or are you good?
Oh, I combined that into, that's why I was so...
That's right.
It was a little random, it was supposed to be 2, the podcast was supposed to be last, but I'm like, I can wrap it all up. Put a little bow on it, put it under your Christmas tree.
Oh, man, the closest thing I have to a Christmas tree is one of those, like, little wax scented deals where you just, like, melt the wax and it makes the room smell nicer. That's the closest thing I have to a Christmas tree at my place, but I'll probably see a Christmas tree on Christmas, so that's all that matters.
Good. There you go.
So we are just wrapping it up for this edition, late night edition, we should say, of the Game Changer at night. Be there. No, just kidding. So, all right. So, with this being said, obviously New Year's coming to a close. Do you have any last final conventions coming up for this year?
don't. It's the holiday season. Celebrate the Hanukkah and the Christmas.
The Hanukkah.
Because don't go to a con, hang out with your family or your loved ones, whoever is with you. And that's kind of what I'm doing too. New Year's, maybe I'm going a little bigger. I'm going to go to Vegas. It'd be crazy, but
Right.
I've never done this, so hopefully it's going to be fun. And yeah, I guess my next big like convention-y like thing will be in January. January 27th is when I'm going to be at the Forest City tournament. It's a Magic the Gathering tournament charity, and I don't know which charity they have chosen. Last time they sponsored foster kids and stuff like that, but it's a huge tournament that for Magic goers, and half the proceeds all go to the charity of their choice. So I'm really excited to be a part of it again this year, and this year kind of having a little bigger part of being kind of the face of their pirate dinosaur world that Magic the Gathering created this time. And so I'm being a pirate, and I'm excited. So, that's not my best pirate. I can do better, but it's you're sleepy.
Well, no. All right. So for those of you that want to really catch up a lot on what Victory Belle's got going on, go check her out on her Facebook fan page, which is facebook.com/VictoriBelleCosplay, which is also her Instagram. Go check out a lot of her photos. You can also give her a follow on Twitter at VictoryClark04. Hey, give me a follow on Twitter as well at RealFNGame. And be sure to also give the Game Changer some likes and just, comments on Facebook.com/Changing Up the Game. And as we mentioned before, guys, we're gonna comment, and we're also gonna mention as many people that we have mentioned on the show, from Rob Fury all the way to Photo Joe, from Project X Amazon to everybody that we've mentioned on here. So basically, we're saying thank you to everybody who has made this year so amazing and just so absolutely memorable. Definitely could not have made it any better without you guys. So with that being said, we're going to just head on out. Probably going to crash. I will probably try to start tagging people as fast as I can before I pass out. Possibly a final episode before the year ends. We're not going to make this a guarantee. This is going to be one of those things where we're kind of on the fence about right now. So if this is the last one, guys, Happy New Year to you guys. Otherwise, we will see you guys in the next episode before 2017 ends. Bye-bye!